Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As the thumbnail says, today we're going to be working on my 2001 IS300 dash here. If you guys didn't know, the 2001 is the only dash that doesn't suffer from the melting dash issue that you find on the 1IS, the 2001 to 2005 Lexus ISs. So from 2002 to 2005, all the dashes, no matter how well you take care of them, are gonna melt eventually. And mine, on my car, it looks like the previous owner cleaned it up a little bit, but there are some spots where it's melting a lot and it gets all over my hands when I'm working on it. So today I'm gonna be painting this dash right here and then prepping it to put in the car, so stay tuned. So if you guys remember from one of my videos from almost 2 years ago, I was at a junkyard locally. It was a U-Pick, and I ran into a 2001 Lexus IS in the junkyard, and this dash was there and it was in perfect condition for the most part, and I took it out right when I saw it just because I knew it was the non-melting dash version, and it was pretty much a 7 out of 10 as far as condition goes. The only issue I had was a little bit of scuffs here, which I was going to plan on sanding out and maybe kind of fixing it and cleaning it up a little bit, polishing it to get that little spot out there. Other than that, everything is pretty much intact here. There is a little tab that was broken here when I think I was taking it apart, but I'll go ahead and probably epoxy the piece back onto there to keep it so I can have a mounting spot right there. Along with this dash, I got all the other accessories in the car that was with it at the time. The center console here, center grille, which I'm not gonna use this since I have navigation. This thing's broken anyways. The vents were all busted up when I got it and I put it all back together. And I got the glove box, the little trim around the gauge cluster, the bottom panel here. I went ahead and took the switches out of my current car right now because I'm gonna prep those to paint also. That way it all matches the dash and the switches, because if you didn't know, the switches from all the ISs were the same color as the 2001 two-tone. Starting in 2002 to 2005, they got rid of the two-tone and it's just all black. Then over here at the center console, this is the same center console that they use on the newer versions. The only difference is this thing had a different cup holder, so I'm gonna go ahead and just swap my cup holder back here from the newer version into here. And I also have the armrest, which this thing also, you could retrofit the armrest on the back side of it. Everything, all the screw holes and everything is exactly the same. Even this little spot here on the newer ones that doesn't have the lid, which is this thing right here, there's actually a plug there on the newer ones, so I'm gonna just swap it over from mine because mine has the raised part with the armrest, and then it's got a different cubby hole down here too. So on the 2001s, you just get this little cubby right here with the lid on it, so that's useless to me now. This is just another extra piece that I got because I took it out from the 2001. So I did get a lot of extra interior pieces for doing other stuff later on if I ended up modding these or doing something with all these switches or mounting stuff to these. I'll have extras for that. So I removed the glove box and everything because you don't need all that on there when you paint it. There's only a little strip area that you can paint to make it two-tone again. To remove the glove box, all you really have to do is just push these two pegs on the bottom here and just it pops right out of the dash itself. And over here, you notice that the vent is missing here. I ended up taking this apart when I was taking this out, and this thing was actually broken anyways, and I just took it apart because I'm gonna have to swap the one from my dash into here to fit on both sides, because both sides of those, the mechanism in there that controls the up and down and movement busted, so I have to use my old one because mine's still intact. I have this somewhere. I was planning on 3D printing a part to fix it, but I just forgot where I put it because it's been like 2 years. Other than that, the airbag cover here is the one I'm gonna be using too, because this one doesn't suffer from melting. I just need to pop it out. I just have it popped in for now. I removed most of the HVAC ducts already. There is one more that I got to unbolt right here. I just don't want to get overspray and crap all over it, so I'm just gonna remove it for now just to make sure I don't spray it, including all these extra, this is just an extra plug that I cut off when I was taking it. And then I gotta remove the sensors over here because I don't want to get overspray on this. Plus I want to use my 2002 versions because I don't know how good the 2001s are, or these things are still working or not, but I'm just go ahead and remove that and then swap over my other ones when I get it done. Aside from that, all the prep should be pretty simple. I'm gonna go ahead and just scuff all this up and prep it for some adhesion promoter. I might have to tape all these edges. You can see on the two-tone one, there's a nice tape line from the factory that you can just follow. You can just follow it. You can see once they get to here, they didn't really care because once you get to here, it's all covered up anyways. You can see on this side too, it just tapes right there, but then when it gets to the actual exposed part, they put a nice line into there. Same with this spot right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tape all that up with some nice painter's tape. Then when I'm ready to spray it, I'm gonna go ahead and just cover all this up with some plastic so I don't get it all over the good part of the dash. You'll notice some of these parts have some pretty bad scuffing and just from age and from use, especially around the radio over here in this area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and sand that down. I'm gonna use some pinhole filler or some body filler, the orange kind. I'm gonna go ahead and fill all those holes in before I sand it and put some adhesion promoter and paint this stuff. That way it's all nice and smooth once I get there. So for all these window switches, it's gonna be pretty easy to do these because the actual switch itself just pops right out at the bottom here. You can see at the bottom there's two clips on either end. You just bend those clips back and push it through and it should come right out along with the top here too. And the buttons, you can see they just all go right through. So once they pull it through, you could clean up all your buttons, prep all these areas for new paint, and then put it all back together once it's all dry. The most complicated switch is the driver switch, but this is pretty easy too. I've already taken these apart. This one's actually easier to take apart than the other ones because there's actually screws there, and then the mirror one pops off pretty easily too. I've already taken all these apart because I remember I changed all the LEDs in here to white back when I did that dash conversion, if you guys haven't seen that video. The cluster trim here is gonna be a little bit tricky for that switch right there. I think the knob pops right off and you can just pull it off from the back side once you release the tabs. And then this one right here, that little ring just pops right out, so you can clean that up pretty easily there. And then on this one, you actually have to tape right there on the inner ring just to keep the black. Other than that, everything else can be painted on this one. All right, so we were able to pop out all the switches. It was pretty easy just to pop those two clips out. As you can see from here, everything came out pretty smoothly. The switches for the passenger and the rear doors are all actually the same actual switch on the inside. They clip into here, and then the rear two sides are exact same switch, same part number and everything, just as an FYI there. The front one, main one, is the only one that's different, and that one bolted pretty easily. And over here off camera, earlier I ended up putting that fiberglass right there. So it broke basically in between there where the clip is. So I went ahead and reinforced it with fiberglass on both sides. I'm gonna let that dry, drill the hole through, then put that clip on, and it should hold as good as factory after I do that, maybe even stronger than the factory plastic. So for all the supplies we're gonna be using today, I'm gonna be using some 3M tape to do the edges. I wanted to make sure I got good 3M tape to get those edges and I don't get any overspray or any leak through on the dash. I'm gonna use some ultra fine 3M Scotch-Brite to do the actual prep work on the existing paint on here before I put the adhesion promoter. So all I want to do is basically just scuff up the existing surfaces. I don't want to remove all the paint. Scuffing up is good enough to get a good substrate, and then I'm going to use some adhesion promoter right here to put it on there before I put the Duplicolor. So I decided to go with the color match Duplicolor, the graphite gray pearl. So this thing is actually the 1C6, which is the factory color on my car. And I bought a bunch of cans of this and it's matched pretty well. It won't be the exact same two-tone as this, but at least it'll match the car and it'll look better than this two-tone. And to top it all off, I'm gonna mix up some 2K clear and just spray it from a little small detailing gun that I have. And to fill in all the little pinholes and all the imperfections, I'm just using this professional Bondo body filler or glazing buddy. This is a two-piece type that I've used before where I have to mix it together and you only have like 5 minutes to use it. But this one works much better than the one that just comes straight out without mixing it two-part. With it being two-part, it's more of an epoxy base and it's gonna hold much better. So if you need any of these parts right here, I'll link to where you could get them online, whether it's on Amazon or on eBay or wherever I got them from. So go ahead and just check out those links if you need any of these things. All right, so I basically just sanded everything down as much as I could and scuffed it. All those little areas where I had imperfections, I put that glazing putty on here just to fill in any of those gaps. I'm gonna go ahead and just sand that down with like a 400 grit sandpaper that I have here. Same with the dash over here. I went ahead and just filled all the little minor scratches and imperfections that we're gonna show up on the new paint. We just go ahead and just sand that all off. You want to take down this putty just enough so you just see where that old imperfection was, and we have all the original paint or the surface so we can paint on it. We don't want to leave too much of this glazing putty on there. All right, so I went ahead, sanded everything down, and off camera I did the taping of all the edges. I did a first layer with the yellow tape, then I followed up with this plastic that came with the tape already on it. I got all this stuff from Amazon. I ended up scuffing everything with the ultrafine 3M Scotch-Brite just to get everything all prepped up after I did the sanding. So everything is nice and smooth now and ready. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it with some alcohol and probably some prep all before I go ahead and paint this stuff on there. I'm gonna do the adhesion promoter first. With the adhesion promoter, you do a light layer and then you let it flash for 5 minutes and then do a heavy layer and let that dry between 15 and 30 minutes before you put on the paint. So we'll go ahead and put the paint on afterwards. With the paint, we wanna put a couple coats, let this baby dry for about 30 minutes on the final coat, and let it flash, and then we'll go ahead and put the 2K clear coat on top of it just to give it a nice shine and protection. Over here on the switches, I got everything smooth and everything taken apart there as I showed earlier. So that thing's pretty simple and ready to go. When I put this on the cardboard on the table, I want to make sure I put some masking tape to keep it from moving when I'm spraying it. But overall, using that plastic with the tape on it made the masking really easy on the dash. Pretty much most of it gets covered pretty easily. You just tuck it behind there. We're going to concentrate on just painting this area right here. This inside area, we won't waste too much material or paint on that. I just want to cover up all of my sanding marks there. Once that's good, you can just get one layer of that on and then protect that with clear coat. You just want to put the most layers on the outside, the part that's actually going to be seen and touched. As you guys saw when I was actually spraying the 2K clear, I had to use a respirator. I got this respirator on Amazon. You always want to use a respirator, especially for 2K clear or any other real paint. For the regular spray paint and everything, I just used a regular N95 mask that I had here just to spray the paint, but that's okay for the spray paint. But for 2K clear, you gotta make sure you use a respirator. If you need any of this stuff, check out the links down in the description. I have links to all the products I used in this video down in the description and where you can find it all.
And I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Got everything nicely clear coated. I'm gonna let this thing dry for a few hours and then peel off the tape before it gets too dry. You just wanna let this thing cure and harden and flow out. You wanna let the 2K clear kind of flow out and harden a little bit before you peel that, but you don't wanna wait too long because when you peel that tape on those edges, it might take the clear coat with it. See all that metallic, all that. Just like the paint on the car, that graphite gray pearl.
Yeah, true passion shines and I'm through passing time. I choose stacking dimes, you snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
So I went ahead and waited about an hour after I sprayed this to harden a little bit. And I ended up peeling all the tape off before it got too hard and would mess up the edges. Pretty much all the tape came off pretty cleanly. You just gotta be really careful not to raise it or pull it too hard and then separate it from the actual surface. So everything came out nice and clean, no real damages other than a little spot on the center console, but everything else on the dash turned out pretty good. Hey guys, thanks for tuning all the way to the end of this video. As you can see, I haven't uploaded in over a month just because of the holidays. I've been sick. We've been on family vacations and all that, but it's a new year now, 2023. I want to go ahead and pick up back on my videos and all my projects that I've been kind of procrastinating on for the last 2 months. So on the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and install all this stuff into the car and take out the old dash. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys on a 2002 to 2005 melting dash how to clean that thing up, refurb it, and paint it back to a trim black so you can put it back in without all that sticky mess. If you guys found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet to stay on top of all my different DIY videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. Remember guys, for all these different projects, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll talk to you guys next time.